Hello, my dear ones. Always a great pleasure to converse the old road of health. A lot of you are doing well. Some of you new people that are writing in, you know, we hear you. We hear your stories. We feel for you. This was beautifully done. She's an artist. But here's another poor individual. She took Accutane. You know, I just can't figure out why people didn't visit the old Gray Bar Hotel that produced Accutane. The amount of suicides from that one drug, the amount of despair, and the amount of what it did to the human body is beyond comprehension. I just, you know, this is just another insult that man has against himself. And it's just amazing the unconsciousness of the human race here. But sweetheart, this is Sim Estelle. Honey, I see the picture. I get what you're saying here. She cries every day. You know, her body's ravished with the... remember I told you the one young man that killed himself that we knew of said that it felt like his body was being cut inside with razor blades with this Accutane. You know, I just... these manufacturers of this never have to deal with anything like this. So she's taking vitamin D and magnesium. I don't, plus zinc. I get that, sweetheart, but I'll tell you what, I probably wouldn't take those. I wouldn't worry about those. The vitamin D, okay, but I wouldn't worry about manganese or magnesium and zinc because you're going to unbalance your body chemistry. Your body will catch up with that. You got to get the adrenals going. And that's the big part about this, is getting the adrenals going and the kidneys going, because that's essential. You're taking adrenals, pituitary. Yeah, I really saw what you're on. Good girl. Good girl. I feel for you, honey. Eating lots of fruits and gave up on meat and dairy protocol. Absolutely. You got to. If you wake up with something. I remember I was just talking to Attila, and he's got a case, I can't remember where, somewhere in the world. She's already had 2/3 of her stomach off. They're telling her to eat protein, and of course she's drinking kefir. So now she's doing protein and kefir, and it's like, are you serious? And their medical people are telling her to. So it's like, it's just so insanely bad. I just go ahead and kill the lady. Removing 2/3 of her stomach and tell her to keep eating protein? Interesting. Our setting, anyway, it's hard to read your writing, sweetheart. It's so small here. They were going to try to bring this up. It's enough to say she's asking if I've ever worked on these cases, and of course we have, seems like, massive amount of these cases. You know, I've had them for years. Probably, I can't tell you which case we get the most. Probably the cancer cases, because we're well known around the world for those. Not perfect, but we certainly are very good at helping people with those, with degenerative tissue in the body. In terms of MS and Lou Gehrig's, extremely. But when it comes to, and of course skin is another big amount of people that come in here. Skin problems of every level. So the big thing here, message I have for you, sweetheart, is don't cry. Roll your sleeves up and get ready to clean the body out. And that's how you do this. You get strong because they made you weak. So now you get strong. Remember, you're not your body, your consciousness. You're not your body. So you get strong. You know you're going to have to get this out of you. Whatever residues are in there and any damage that it's done to cells can be repaired. I mean, you got to all realize that the body repairs itself beautifully, but not under the acid moon. Can't repair and regenerate the human body under an acid condition. That's the condition that spawns deterioration. So until you remedy that, how could you expect to get regeneration? So, and when you're talking about detoxification, because that's the only level that's going to help anybody with the Accutanes and stuff like that, you have to fix the system that they treated to take care of the residues from this. Believe it or not, it's the same system that you have to fix to get rid of the Accutane out of the body and fix and repair whatever was damaged. You have to go after the same system that you took it for. Even though you took it for the skin is the major organ of the lymphatic system along with the two other kidneys. It just happens to be the largest kidney you have. So it is essential that you sweat. And how many people's thyroids are down, their basals are low, they can't sweat, so their skin doesn't allow for proper elimination. Their kidneys become impacted basically and inflamed through protein consumption. And so they lose filtration, the adrenals go down of course. Low neurotransmitters for kidneys and stuff. And so what we have, locked in sewage, acidic sewage that is just burning people to death, you know. It acts like Accutane. So to remedy this, you got to get on an herbal program for the kidneys, the lymphatic system, clean up your GI tract. You can repair your whole body, honey. You don't have to live like this at all. You don't have to feel bad. You need to get strong and focused. Understand that your lymph system was a problem in the beginning, that your subcutaneous tissues under your skin is where you're impacted, and it's a kidney problem. It's an acidic problem, and you cannot remedy this eating acidic forming foods. So foods that are not acid forming are basically fruits, berries, melons, and salads. However, a lot of you are learning that chewing on salads is not a lot of fun when you can have a bowl of fruit that puts a smile on your face ear to ear. Easy to digest, more energy, cleans you out better, cleans the kidneys right better, everything. Does the blood better, every way. So I just wanted to give you a shout out, sweetheart, that I had her respond to you, Shannon, and of course she showed me this yesterday. So she responded yesterday, Jen B actually. She gave it to Jen to respond. So you should have that by now, but I wanted to do a little video for you that you really need to get in on that lymph system. And the diet has to drastically change. And you don't want to feel a victim anymore. You want to take the reins, and you are the boss now. You become the boss of your world and your body, and you clean it out and restore it and rebuild it. We'll help you. You've got plenty of YouTubers all around the world that'll help you. You've got that rawfig.com. It's the Arty people. You've got all kinds of things there. And so you're not alone. And we can help you get your and restore your life back. And that's what you have. That's what everybody that's been on Accutane and it has skin conditions of any type, I don't care what it is, know what you're up against. Know the system you're up against and how to deal with that. Well, the problem with that is it's hard to find that information out there. No one likes to share and teach others how to take care of themselves. Always the situation on this planet is what? Follow the money? Something like that. But I see your boyfriend here, see your mom, honey, and listen, you just get strong, and we'll show you how to clean all that out of you and restore any damaged tissue that's a result. But you have to fix why you have skin problems, whether it's acne, rosacea, dermatitis, they don't matter what it is. No matter what level it is. These are all different levels. And it's just the same system and the same problem. You don't have different systems like that for different skin problems. Same system down. And again, that's the lymphatic system. And this is the system that everybody needs to learn. And that's what's going on. And it's a good deal there. I don't know. This is from, I guess, since Drew sent this to me, that I can read it. So, this is Owen Drew. The infection I had was almost assuredly fungal in nature. It started with a wart, that came up on my nose. I know that because when it finally came out my nose after the 4th day of grapes and lemon juice. Get this, after the 4th day of Grapes Unlimited, this lady did good. I felt the need to blow my nose. And it was just like a little string at first, so I started pulling it out with my fingers. It came out a foot long. Pencil-sized, almost like a roundworm, a good-sized roundworm. Same thing, rope of dried mucus, which ended with a yellow blob at the end. See the nasty stuff that builds up with us, and now most of it's associated with mucus because of this mucosa that's designed to secrete mucus when there's abrasive chemistry being ingested. So all you have to do is eat your food and see what gives you mucus, and now you'll know your body does not want that protein, because mucus is what clogs you. And you see everybody that's detoxing, look what they're getting out. Foot-long strands of mucus. Look at the stuff coming out of the bowels. I mean, we're so full of stuff, it's unreal. You know, but when you understand that when the body gets acidic, this stuff then plasters in the body like you were gluing it on the wall of stuff. That's why when you bring that alkaline chemistry, that ionization takes place. In other words, the electrons out of the base chemistry moves over to the acid side and brings their electron orbits into a more base balance. So it brings it into balance, neutralizes basically. Because there is a saturation. So there's a neutralization going on, a hydration, a move from cationic to anionic. Anyway, that's pretty good. Dr. Morse said that warts are in the fungal family, and from what I've learned as I researched on YouTube, that yellow blob looked exactly like a fungal head. Probably. That is usually surgically removed. Wow. See, you didn't have to have it surgically removed, because as you started hydrating yourself, Joy, it just started loosening up. You know, and that's true with all the stones and everything else. Even your gallstones and kidney, they'll all shrink down in an alkaline slurry. That's why it's important to eat this base dominant, alkaline dominant foods. You know, especially with a little astringent power. You guys are doing great, and you're pulling stuff out of the body here that is affecting your ability to breathe and cuts down your performance of all levels and your happinesses. So you're doing really, really good, really great. She's done the parasite M and she's the teas and stuff like that. So she's done really, really well. And she also has another comment down here, something about my cat, 4 months old, has a terrible sinus infection and can hardly breathe. I think she caught it from me. Well, remember, you can't catch anything. Now that sounds wild. When you're walking around, you have microbes all over the place. They almost walk in and out like an open book. So you're really not catching them. You might come into some virals and things like that, and yes, you see a little tripped up there. You could come into some bacterias, absolutely. And when you start to have a cold and flu, you say, oh darn, I caught a cold and flu. No, you didn't. You've been creating this for years. You've been creating this for years. It's just whatever was the triggering mechanism. Remember, we talked about this before. A triggering mechanism is alkaline, right? So cold is alkaline. How many people go out in the cold and catch a cold? Matter of fact, I was raised in Indiana, snow, 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 and they used to say, don't go out in the cold, you'll catch a cold. And I'm going, what? I didn't know bacteria wasn't operating below 40 or whatever, and that or 30 or whatever, and that, you know, there's no catching anything. It is the congestion that's the problem. And that's when I make that comment about the medical people tend to look at the ass end of the donkey. It wasn't meant to be rude. It was meant to show a point, is that they always look at the effect of things instead of addressing the cause of things. And as long as you address the effects and treat the effects, you can kill a lot of people doing that. And that's, of course, what's going on. Well, finally, thank you, people are putting the stats together, and it's shocking, the millions and millions and millions and millions of deaths. There's 16 millions of deaths just in America 1 or 2 years with chemo alone. You know, over the span of 10 years, you're talking probably 100 million people have been killed allopathically. So you tell me, I shouldn't speak about that? We should keep ourselves quiet and not voice that? When you have a radical machine here that's killing people right and left and hurting people with Accutane and crap like this? And our Consumer Protection Agency, our people in the government supposed to protect us, the FDA does nothing but try to shut down the health people and promote the killing drugs. Where's that? See, and that means these people are a victim of the negative side of God. They're being pulled into by the negative forces and controlled, and they don't even know it. They're unconscious. They're mind riders. And the mind has been completely conditioned. And you can have people condition your mind. Herbs are bad, raw foods are bad. For a government like Italy to even contemplate making eating raw foods illegal, whoa, I mean, that's out there. That is so far out there. Italy, I hope that's not true, please. Yeah, Italians are great people. You can't do that to your people. I hope that's not true. The Italians will have to stand up and have a little talk with the government. You can't do that. Outlaw my ability to get well. That's why I'm a fighter down here on this earth. People have the right. Samir, I hope I'm pronouncing some of these right. Forgive me, he's from India. I love India. It gives me immense pleasure to write to Dr. Morse. It gives me immense pleasure to hear you, my friend. Especially if you're Indian. I love Indian people in India. I love Indian food. Not raw, but when your cheating time comes, the Indian food, you know, you might as well cheat on some of the best. I saw his video once and been a super duper fan. I like how you write, man. Super duper fan ever since. It's just been a week or so that I have been following him. I am so happy, and I am sure God Almighty worked his magic out and got me to watch his videos. I can write day in and day out about Dr. Morse, but I know he has millions of mails to answer. I am suffering from avascular necrosis of both hips involved, left 50%, right 20%. Can I reverse this? Much love from India. My friend, you definitely can reverse this. All right? But again, remember the two sides of chemistry when you're referring to your conditions, and pretty much I think most of you by now get the fact that you can go to the acid side of chemistry to understand symptomologies, particularly when you're, getting calcifications or losing calcium. Either way, either hip deterioration, knee, it doesn't matter where in the human body. All right? So when you understand that, when you create acids that cannot be removed or neutralized, they create an effect. So all you have to learn is, what do acids represent in chemistry? Well, as a chemist, I can tell you that they're called corrosive. Acids are corrosive in chemistry. So does the word corrosive mean anything to you? So corrosive means, you know, how it strips metal. It even strips metal. Acids take no prisoners, guys. So they strip. They suck out. In other words, when you have an acid condition, remember this is duality. And you in India know that more than anything, because the word karma ranks high in India. So you've got one side right here, the acid side. Where's the other side? Okay, so the other side is the base chemistry. This side is corrosive. This side leaches calcium out of your body. This side makes you hard and stiff. This side makes you necrotic, but also neurotic. I mean, this side destroys. Now, with that said, there are minor acids like estrogen and testosterone that are beneficial. Absolutely. Just like if you get way up in the alkalis, they'll burn you bad. Lye and some of those high areas, bleach, way up there, 11, 12 pH, 13, ow, burn. But notoriously the acid side is the side, because it's hard to get up there in the 12s and the 14 alkalis, but it is easy. Matter of fact, all you have to do is go to an oncologist and he'll give you about 1.5 pH and juice you right up. That's hotter than hydrochloric acid by 5 to 10% times, I mean. Oh, so you have to understand, my dear one, that this is an acid condition and that your kidneys play a direct role in this. So you've got to get your kidneys filtering and your adrenal glands up. Get your lymph moving so it'll stop the decay and it'll stop leaching the calcium and creating hardness. And start bringing those fruits, berries, and melons. India's got a lot of great food. Boy, I was eating at an Indian restaurant the other day doing one of my cheat days. And I like Matar Paneer. So the worst thing in Matar Paneer, of course, is the cottage cheese, or if the better place is the tofu, which is peas. Peas and sauce. I love peas and sauce. It was good. But they have the naan, which is bad, white bread, cooked in a clay urn. Oh, bad stuff. Good though, smells and stuff like that. But you can't do those things. When you're in trouble, you got to go fruits, berries, and melons. Get up there, get that lymph moving, get those kidneys filtering, start repairing. Another thought comes to my mind is, if you were in my case, I'm going to be looking at your parathyroid gland, because I'm going to rebuild some structure here. I'm going to want that parathyroid gland working, and I'm going to want a bone formula. So in about a month and a half, working on your kidneys and working on everything. If you don't have a pituitary problem that I see, then I'm going to go into the parathyroid gland. I'm going to give you a parathyroid glandular, 50 milligrams. I'm going to do about 2-3 times a day, and then I'm going to hitchhike that right with a bones formula three times a day since you're in trouble. At the same time, I'm going to give you lower circulation. Make sense? Lower circulation, and I'm going to give you some upper circulation to caboot. And guess what else might help this gentleman? Brain and nerve number 2. But the circulation formulas are essential to start moving oxygenated blood and goodies to these areas. At the same time, you got to remove the sewage that's breaking them down. Make sense? Okay. So that's what you have to do, and you can regenerate this really nicely and get yourself going. But I would say this. You might want to lead a little more relaxed of a life and stay a little more less active until you get your kidneys filtering and a little less regenerated. When you start, it's like a hernia. Some people are asking, what is the hardest things to work on? Hernias are difficult. And then the reason is because people are always active and it's always pushing out, depending where it is. And if you can be sedentary long enough and keep it wrapped and everything, I can get that tissue to heal fairly quickly. Depends on the case and how acidic. But if you hold in there and you can get them, you can tighten that up and then you can fix that hernia. But as a rule, it's a tough one because of the activity. And it's the same thing with hips and knees and everything else, joints. Keep life to a minimum in terms of activity, my friend, until you get your kidneys filtering and you feel like there's regeneration. Then, moderate walking and exercise and stuff like this, if you even have the capacity to do that now. But you've got to fix this up a little bit before you move. Keep stressing those tissues. Every time you move tissue, acids are formed. It's just a process of movement. You all have heard that in the gym. You work out, you work your muscles. What's the acid you get when you work out your muscles? Lactic acid. Thanks. Hey, Paul. How you doing, man? I've been enjoying watching your YouTube videos. Thanks, man. And would like to ask the following. I have been diagnosed with Lyme disease and have tried to follow my naturopathic protocol, but always have bad reactions to it. It just makes me sick nowadays to hear this, because I've always held naturopathy as a very dear and precious science, because naturopathy is the science of nature, meaning chemistry, physics, light, sound. Naturopathy is into everything God made. It is the most beautiful science there is. There shouldn't be medical doctors, there should be naturopathic doctors. But it's just a beautiful science. And then you enter the medical profession. This is why you see me the way I am. And I'm the least. Wait till you get some of the older guys older than me. You think I tear up the medical profession. You ought to hear some of the old greats. They've had it. So I'm real gentle compared to some of the guys I know. Jensen was spiritual, so he was nice about it. But none of them cared for him. You can see why. But when you're taught as a naturopath, under medical thinking, you just messed up your whole study period. When you're learning how to treat diseases, you just went to the wrong school. and it won't serve you well. And what it's doing is affecting naturopathy in a negative way. People are telling me, just like this gentleman, Paul, that they've been to a naturopath, several. And here they go, high protein diets and stuff like this. And I'm saying, what are these people calling themselves naturopaths for? They got the little degree on the wall. That don't mean anything. Back in the 70s, I had my wall full of degrees. Back almost 1980, I had a wall full of all kinds of degrees. I spent a lot of years studying and going to school. And I tore them all up. I got a lot of them back, but I tore them all up. You know why? Because a degree on the wall doesn't mean you're good at what you do. Hi, sweetheart. And that has been my complaint, is that just because you have a certificate on the wall, that don't mean nothing. That don't mean a thing. And so that's where you have to be careful. Just because you passed a test doesn't mean you know what you're talking about. So, we really have to start opening our awareness to these sort of things. But when a naturopath can't help you, that makes me sick to my stomach, because we're the ones to help you. And that's not happening. So this is why I've created this whole new science of ours. And I've got you guys to help me. And we're all on the ground floor. We're all creating this new science. And we can put naturopathy on it if you want. But I took herbology and naturopathy and joined those two. But we just, now naturopaths are getting bad names because they can't help people either. And if no one can help anybody, you see how frustrating the world would be? This is why people are longing for help and seeking it. And you guys are here at the right time. You are the beautiful people of the world. You're bringing light to the world. You young people are now opening up and realizing you can fix yourselves. And then you'll be able to fix the world because you're fixing yourselves and you're young. So this is all good stuff. Now this Paul here is feeling dizzy, gets terrible headaches. Now, of course, we've talked about this, Paul, about when you're dizzy, you're back here in the cerebellum here. Well, what could make the cerebellum, what could affect the cerebellum that could make you dizzy? Inflammation, right? That's the word that some people would be using. What would we want to use in our accurate way of looking at that? We would want to say acids. So what it's saying to me is your lymph system, and it's not good, Paul, is backed up in the head here, up in the cerebellum. So cold compresses when you feel dizzy, work on those neurolymphatic points down, and you honk on. Remember the ladies on the fruit for only a week, and she got this big foot long? Exactly, because they hydrate and astringe. That's where you got to go, baby. You got to get up there and start detoxing yourself, Paul, and get in there deeply, and get these bowels cleaned up so you can break that. And I'd candle my ears. I had a guy candle his ears and his sinuses just broke loose. Now, some people have candled the ears and no, it didn't break loose. But if it does, you are one lucky human body. So the joint pain says you're acidic all over the place. Your fatigue's telling me your adrenals are down, and therefore your lymph is down, and therefore you're backed up in the head, you're backed up in the joints, your stomach wall is full of acids, of course burning probably through the stomach wall, and you feel like my brain and body is inflamed, which it is. You're feeling exactly, guys, what's going on in you. You are feeling exactly what's going on. It is a burn. Acids burn. Welding. That's why when you have endometriosis, you ladies, you want to get that out of there, or it will weld your uterus to your colon. So many hysterectomies that the surgeons have to cut the uteri off of the colon wall. It welded itself. That's what acids do. That's how bad acids are when they accumulate in the human body and are not being removed. And man has to get with that, or it's downhill into hellville. Big time, as you guys know. So, Paul, you really want to take off on this and get up in there. I would get upper circumbrain and nerve, at least a buffer, because I don't know if you have cholesterol plaquing up here, calcifications, anything by now, but you want to keep yourself open up here. Obvious reasons, right? Stomach pains, I don't like that. Now, that can be coming from in the wall. So, when you have stomach pains, what's the one thing is definitely no, don't do? Protein. Because it invokes hydrochloric acid. Well, that's 2 pH blowing back on the mucosa of the stomach. That's hotter than Pepsi. That's hotter than cellular acids, remember? Cellular acids are 3, hydrochloric 2, logarithms. So hydrochloric acid is 10 times hotter than, let's say, the acid that causes arthritis. Just to give you an idea. Do you think you can help me? I know I can help you. What do you think? I don't think. Plus, I try not to think nowadays if I can help it, please. But you want to get on the detox. Polo. You much regards, my friend. Get on the detox. You can afford the 14-week protocol. Get going, or at least a few months of it. At least the first 2. Get your deworm yourself. Get your bowels cleaned up. Get your kidneys filtering. Get this lymph moving, because this isn't good. When you start backing up here, remember the optic nerves crossing in there. So now your vision can be involved. Your brain fog, honey, where did I park the car syndromes, dementia, Alzheimer's, like I said, all kinds of things. Balding, MACD, wrinkled retinas, cataracts, which is cholesterol, of course, stroke. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. All because of one system is down. One system. Now, you might have some other systems, like the endocrine system. Yeah, it can be a little down, of course, to make the lymph system down. But not difficult to fix this, Paul. Just get yourself focused on a raw food diet. Get yourself away from the vegetables in a short period of time and start digging into your lymph system. I don't know what your eyes, you have to look at your eyes, and that's the beauty of the eyes. It's easy to take a picture nowadays of the eyes, and we teach you everything you need to know as much as we can. We have our classes, our schools that we teach you. We have the RD people that are anxious to help you. These are people that have been through months and years of detox now. I have some RD people that's been years with me that they're way out there. So, these are people in the know and doing it. And when you're doing it, those are the people to talk to. Our monsoon season in Florida. Hey, this is Jacob Rodriguez. Hey, Jacob. Hey, doctor, I've been having problems with constipation, mild, good, at night. Abdominal pains shifting throughout my upper and bottom torso. And black, squeezing in black. Oh, and back. And bottom of torso and back. Squeezing in back. Losing hair more often, dry skin, especially on hands and feet, swollen thyroid, goiter. Was exposed to mild radiation after a few hospital visits and a CAT scan. A few? What is a CAT scan? 265 rads. And just an X-ray is a little under 1 rad. So you had a few X-rays. Previously I had an X-ray done maybe a couple of months prior. Not sure if there's anything I can do to fix this issue. Caffeine seems to irritate my GI tract as well. And this is Jake. Jake, there's nothing you can't fix. I mean, we've talked about this before, and it's easy to understand that sometimes it's your time to go. And when you're highly advanced, no matter what we do, sometimes we can't help you. It's your time to leave, and good. I've said this 1,000,000 times, if not 2,000,000. I'll go for you. Not where you're going, but I'll go. This is just an easy withdrawal of your attention away from your body. That's all it is, guys. You as soul don't feel pain. It's only the human body that feels any pain and discomfort. And if you're on raw, if you're in those advanced areas, generally you'll pass without any pain and happy, and you'll be identifying. We have one lady, we know she's going to pass extremely bad. Extreme. I can show you some pictures, I will later on, extreme. And she's starting to see her guides coming. And it's just, it's her time to take off and enjoy a better world. Get rid of the body that's ravaged and eaten and chewed up. You got to realize life is great and greater away from this mundane level, this very chemical, inert, constipated level. We're trying to enhance it and get it energized. But it's God wants to pull it back, you can tell. But yeah, anything that's a stimulant is a big no. So, you want to get on stomach and bowel number 2. All right, that's a real gentle bowel former that I made. It's not a laxative, it's a bowel restorative. And stay on that for a little while, and at the same time, pick up your other protocols. Go at least kit 1, kit number 2. Work on a couple of kits. But you want stomach and bowel number 2. You don't want to get too aggressive, even though 3's not aggressive. 5's aggressive, and it's not even a laxative, but it butts it. 2's so gentle and sweet. So you want number 2. But that's 2 capsules 3 times a day would be what I would be doing. But you also want to think about, why do you have this constipation? And 1, is it the type of food you're eating? All right? What's constipating in the types of food you're eating? Starch, extreme. Eggs, extreme. Meat, extreme constipation. Beans can be very constipating, very constipating. Eggs, extremely constipating. The most constipating foods on the planet are your dairy products. Your sour creams rate is one of the top constipating foods on the planet. Your kefirs, yogurts, milks, ice creams, extreme. Extreme. So all those foods are extreme. And I'll tell you how bad some people are. I've had people that got constipated eating a salad. So we know, obviously, that movement of undigested and digested foods through your GI tract is a peristaltic action. It's a neurological event. So adrenals controls the autonomic in that way. So generally when we see constipation, your nervous system's down and you have a lowered nerve response. So we always are going after kidneys and adrenals irregardless. The other reason, of course, is you have interstitial, which is around all your cells, lymphatic constipation, which simply means your kidneys and your adrenals are down. You're not filtering anymore. Your sewer system has backed up. And when it backs up everywhere on the side that the kidney is down. Eventually both sides, but firstly the side that the kidney is down. Now, this also, of course, is interstitial, meaning around all the cells on the side. And that includes in the wall of the small intestines. That's where you absorb 95% of your nutrition. A few micros, maybe, and traces in the first part of the colon, but not much. So, that's another problem. You know what happens when lymph becomes stagnant, acids become stagnant, and they sit there long enough? Everything dries up. Remember, your skin is dry. So that's called dehydration. It sucks you dry. Well, then edema comes in to try to bring some balance to that. Water comes in. But things get hard. You people with the tumors and the ladies with the breast tumors and stuff, my God, and they get hard. Horrible. Acids too long. There was one I was going to read here. Maybe hand it to me, I'll read it. I'll have to look at this. But it was this lady was saying she has a large breast tumor, about, I think she's size, and under her arm here, like the size of a lemon. It started out the size of a pea. This is one huge reason, my friends, why I do these videos. Because when you feel a pea-sized tumor, get on it right now. You know immediately what it is by listening to this channel. You know immediately it's your kidneys and your adrenals. Maybe you've been through some stress times. Your adrenals will shut down a little more than normal. Whatever. But you know that's a lymph system. Honk on it and you'll be totally successful. Wait until it's the size of an apple or like this and you're in trouble. And that's why I get upset sometimes at the medical community and even some naturopaths wasting people's times with nothing that'll help them, that makes them worse, and then they finally get to us. And then some people get mad because we try our best to help them, but they've been so ravished with chemo and radiation that some we can't save. You can't get mad at that. Can't get upset at that. Everybody tries to do your level best to be successful, even those advanced who want to live. But if you're one of those and you know you're not going to make it, kick back, relax. Kick back, relax, and start contemplating. Start calling in your spiritual guides. If you don't have any, think God. Think God, think light around you. Quiet your mind, stop creating, and start watching, and you'll see angelic beings coming. We're all well protected, guys. But that's how you take care of this, my friend. Your body, you sound like you're loaded with lymph. That's what it sounds like. I don't like the abdominal pains shifting throughout my upper and bottom torso. It sounds like this is the transverse colon and some of the bowels. And when you might be so inflamed that you feel peristalsis. Or you could be spasming a little bit. You have migraines. So I don't know. You know, we know that, I don't know the condition or the level. You could have some decay in those areas from genetics. Who knows? You have to look at your eyes. But if you want to turn this whole thing around, no matter what condition it's in, you got to do what we're teaching here. You got to turn this around. You get on your formulas. I get on Stomach and Bowel 2, and I take off down these kits. At the same time, I'm on what? Fruits, berries, and melons. If they take off and you get you moving well, come off of number 2 and go down to number 1. Finish up number 2 and then go right on down to number 1. You're good. Nothing in number 1 to move you. But they're all anti-inflammatories, antacids. They all heal the mucosa, soothe the mucosa, stimulate cell activity. You know, all kinds of good things these bowel formulas are in. So you want to work that way. But you also have to think adrenals and kidneys, lymphatics, those sort of things. Okay? The radiation and stuff like that, if you get on this now, you'll pull it right out of you. But radiation is the same thing as anything else in an acidic medium. Of course, it is acidic too, and in an acidic medium on top of that, it just stays around and hangs around and hangs around and hangs around in you. Nothing no fun about that. Hi, Dr. Morse. Thank you for your abundant videos. Thanks. I know that YouTube they've closed us down a couple of times, and I know they've taken some of our videos away. You know, sad stuff. I think rawfig.com's got most of them, but I've been clicking them out. But just so they're helpful for you. That's all I care about. If I'm going to sit here and do them, I just want to make sure they're helpful for you and that you can use the information to your good, because we have no agenda other than get you well and help you. I'm only here a short time now, and I'm away short. I'm a traveler. Come on. Thank you for your abundant videos. You inspire me to become a healer too. Good. I love healers. And you guys will make mighty fine healers. The naturopaths aren't doing it. So if the naturopaths can't even do it and they get lost, we have to step in, don't we? Yep. And you guys will make some mighty fine healers because you're learning the truth. You're working it yourselves. You're finding out the truth and you're living it. I love it. You guys are A1. I just can't stand seeing people in pain. I know. And I love helping people and solving problems. You're just like me. Just like me. Most of us on this site, I think, are pretty close, don't you? Because we all pretty much have the heart. You know, I was just looking at that. Let's sit in here on the brain. Big brain, little heart. Little brain, big heart. Basically, if you use your mind all the time, this little heart here is going to be just what it is. The intellectual people have a very hard time with love in the heart. However, those that don't use their mind so much, that enjoy the beauty of life and everything, have a giant heart. And that also goes for the entrance into the heavens. Be careful being too intellectual if you want to enjoy the heavens. I'm a 26-year-old male. Listen, man, you will be a healer. This world needs a lot of great healers, and you guys will be good, really good, because you're pulling yourselves through these difficult times. I briefly, 2 months, started eating a junk food vegan diet 5 years ago and have since been very sick. I was eating peanut butter with bread and sunflower oil margarine spread, orange juice, potato waffles, pasta, olive oil, tomatoes, along with any other snack that was vegan. Yeah. You know, we have this vegan expo coming up. I think my first talk, I'm going to call it Veganism to Fruitarianism to Balance. I'm going to have spirituality and veganism / fruitarianism. That's going to be another talk I'm going to do. I'm also going to link veganism, fruitarianism, and regenerative detoxification. So I've got 4 talks through the month. All through the month of October, I'm going to be talking Wednesday, I think at 2 or 3 o'clock for an hour or 2. But you can see where the true diet of health and vitality is fruitarian. Add some vegetable fruits in a salad once in a while. Perfect. Perfect. Or you could do fruits all day, have 1 salad a day and be all on fruits. You'd live quite healthy and happy and have extreme vitality. You know, absolutely. When you're on that much fruit, though, you notice that those that are starting to realize how the vegetables are too coarse and too hard to chew and digest and stuff like that. Yeah. It's in your face when you start eating a lot of good fruit and the flavors and stuff, and then you're going back to the salads, and it's like, no. I have a real hard time with salads now. If I go like Sweet Tomatoes, which is a big restaurant for salads, I don't put lettuce on my plate. My beginning lettuce is carrots. And then on top of that, I put cucumbers all around. And then I do like radishes and stuff like that a little bit. So I put radish. I love peppers, so I put peppers all on that. And I start building it. But I don't use things that are real cellulose because, why? Let me see here. But, and I hope you didn't combine these together either, because combine some peanut butter with orange juice for some of you and see how you like it. See, some of these food combinations will send you off into acid reflux. Your food just sits there. You feel like you're going to throw up. I can't combine fruit with anything, or I'm in deep, deep trouble. I don't ever do that. Now, let's see what's going on here. It started with just skin problems. Now excuse me, I want to address this a minute. It started with just skin problems, but for the past 3 years, my thinking ability has been affected. Now, when you see skin problems, it's just not skin problems. See? That was the mistake. Oh, look, I just have a little rash. That is a sign of lymphatic stagnation. How much do you have? Picture of the eye. Oh my God. Oh. I got lymph stagnation all over the place. Or, only a few places. I can clean this out real easy. Whatever it is, you know what you're up against. So, definitely. So, my lips have painful cracks and fissures. Water is agony on them. Oh, I bet. You know, people laugh about this, but you can get to the point you can't even take water into the gut. Remember I told you about some of those gastroparesis and stuff. You can't even drink water. Oh, no, you'll throw it right back up. They look baggy. Well, we have a burn salve. I would keep burn salve on them because it's a burn that you're experiencing. This what you're seeing here, Seth, what you're seeing here is exactly what you see in the brain, on the liver, in the heart, in the lungs. Lesions, fissures, they're chewing you. Your acids are chewing you. You're extremely acidic. How much, again, your eyes can tell you. I couldn't tell you, but your eyes can. But this is a sign of acidosis. So when you see skin problems, you guys just want to go, I just have skin. No. Systemic lymphatic problems, bigger picture, and a better picture, because then you start to understand why the skin is down. And it isn't just the skin, like I said. My face skin is flaky and crusty all over, especially around my eyes. Yep, very familiar. You know, when I was on a lot of milk, I had this, what do they call this? Granulated eyelids. All the mucus had dried, and you know, it's granulated because mucus. Now, I wouldn't know what it was. They didn't call it mucus because it's granulated, you know. And then I'd get a sty once in a while, like a little tumor. Nobody said, oh, you're drinking it. You're drinking what you're doing. No one ever said that to me. They didn't know. Well, now we know, and a lot of us has a large learning curve. So, you know, if I can save you guys from too big of a learning curve, let me do that. Because it's not fun to go years and years Humpty Dumpty and everything else with all kinds of ups and downs, is it? My skin is discolored and dull and dry, crusty, inflamed all over my body. Absolutely. It shows you. So, this is a perfect to show you what the problem is, because what would be systemic that could reflect this? If your skin is broken, is red all over, all body, what then could it reflect that is also all over your body? Well, the only thing that's all over your body is fluids. Your cells are individual, stuck in individual compartments. But the one thing that is systemic, two things that are systemic, is blood and lymph. So you immediately know that, whoa, I'm on the acid side of chemistry and on a lymph stagnation issue. And that immediately takes your kidneys and adrenals and the whole lymph system. And then everything is up for grabs. Livers, pancreases, that sort of thing, you know. We were talking about this case that Tilla's coming in. I told you about it the other day on a video. No pancreas, no gallbladder. Those are your only two digestive organs of foods, except for. So the body's going to have to live on fruit diet. Remember, insulin doesn't need insulin for fructose, but does for glucose. Well, what would his life be just eating glucose all the time? Most simple sugars, remember? My eyes feel heavy when awakening. Now that's probably more neurological, and that doesn't sound good. My inner ears are always crusty and painful. Yeah, you're loaded. You, my friend Seth, are loaded. You have got to clean the head and everything down below. Okay, so you've got to get on this, because just what you're thinking or not thinking, Seth, is that it can affect your ability to comprehend and to communicate and to have a physical body on this planet with any type of fun. So you want to dig in and get this taken care of, because you're all acidic and crusty all over the place. I'm sure there's the olfactories are down, the hearing is down, probably the sense of taste is down. You guys think about your sense of taste and how well you actually are tasting the food you're eating. When you eat a food, you want to enjoy it to the max. And that's the beauty of fruit. You ever notice when a dog eats meat, they just rip it and swallow it? Because there's no digestion of protein in your mouth and they don't care about the flavor. Yeah, they do. I know dogs love flavors, let me tell you. But everything else, chew, 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 chew. Okay, all right. Dandruff. That's a right there. We talked about that earlier, how that's acids oozing out that skull. This is all your symptoms are actually telling you, Seth, what's going on here. If you look at that, all your symptoms, when you look at them, oh look, these are all lymphatic symptoms. Look at this. Low libido, low appetite, low energy, sinus pain. Oh, I bet. So you remember the lady we were just talking about, a foot long? You're probably loaded with that, my friend. And you just have to start getting it out. Upper circuit brain and nerve goes without saying. Upper circuit brain and nerve, and hit on the detox kits. Or at least put yourself a protocol, like go to the protocol videos. The protocol video that I did that so I wouldn't have to repeat. So go back to that protocol video, put yourself on a protocol, but the diet is always the same. Fruits, berries, and melons. And I don't care what you see. That skin could explode. Who cares? You want what's in stagnation out. Pronto. Oh, brain fog. Severe, especially when eating meals high in mixed fat, protein, and carb, which I don't do anymore. Thank you, Seth. I've been changing my diet ever since. My symptoms peak, and though But I've not managed to solve this. We have to keep digging in. And you want to get on the herbs, get the diet thing around, get on the herbs and dig in and keep going. Take a picture of your eyes to see the degree of the problem. Because I can't tell you the degree of the problem. It's easy to tell you the problem, but not the degree of the problem. That is an iris look. Despite being, oh, this is funny. Despite being passed, I love it. You see these. I don't pre-read them, and you write in what you write, so I don't tell you what to write, right? He says, despite being passed around from doc to doc, I believe I've had this problem from a young age, but this terrible diet pushed me over the edge. Always had nasty white tongue. Yep, there you go. You're really lymphatic in the bowel wall. You're going to see a lot of mucus coming out of you, my friend. Always had bad breath. Yep, got decay in the bowels. Absolutely. That's a bad breath, decay in the bowels. Remember how we get impacted in the bowels? We can have 15 pounds of impacted matter in our bowels. Always been a small guy, most likely malabsorption. You guys are getting it. But you see why, Seth? Because your lymph system's backed up all over the place. So you're going to have malabsorption a little bit or a lot. From your vids, I gather this is probably a kidney problem, but would really appreciate your advice. Yeah, kidney and adrenals. Kidney and adrenals. Those two are hooked together forever. Unless a surgeon cuts them. Generally, I think they take them both. But you guys are getting it good. Really, really, really. Your help and advice could literally make a world of difference to me. I'll be happy to, Seth. Absolutely. Matter of fact, get this done. If you need more help, go to rawfigs.com and have them talk to you and work with you and help you there. But that the whole idea of this is to get you guys that are suffering out of this mess. Don't you think? Enough suffering and stuff. There's got to be more serious things to worry about than... Oh, this is Debora. Hey, Debora, honey. Hi, Doc. My name is Debora. I'm 30 years young. I'm vegan for 2.5 years, but raw for the last month. Good girl. Since starting eating raw, I feel extremely cold. Well, you're eating cold, but to the point my fingernails and lips turn to a, oh wow, blue-purple. Thyroid down big time. I'm trying to have a baby for I'm trying to have a baby for a while and went to a specialist. After several tests, they found a polyp in my uterus and that I have insulin resistance and put me on Metformin. I also have acne since age 14. Irregular menstrual cycle, stomach and digestive issues. Please help. Be happy to, Debora. This is a good case, guys. This is a good case for us to work on together here, okay? Now, this is Debora. She's a 30-year-old female, okay? She's trying to have a baby. Now, let me guess the word is trying. Now, why would I say that? And what did she say here that would lend itself to me? And let me read this to you. Since starting eating raw, I feel extremely cold, to the point my fingernails and lips turn to a blue-purple color. All right? Now, how does that relate to I'm trying to have a baby, okay? Now, also, how does that relate to insulin resistant and Metformin? All right? And also, how does that tie in to irregular menses? I heard you. Guys are good. So, Debora, my guess is you've got some pituitary going on here, big time. And you want to look at that because this is, and before you conceive right now, you want to take a few months and take care of yourself first. This is not a time to conceive. And if you're trying, it's your pituitary. And it's why you have irregular menses, not a time to have babies. And I'll tell you why. Because you could go wrong, conceive, and then abort. See, you can't trust your ability to hold right now. So, you want to fix some things. Now, you can go on the female reproductive formula. I highly advise that for about 2 or 3 months to firm and tone the uteri and ovaries. At the same time, it does have stage 3 for the pituitary. But I'm thinking I'm going to go to the pituitary. Your thyroid is way down. To turn that purple and cold, you have no thyroid. So, but with the irregular menses and the trying to conceive, that's taken me right up to the pituitary. Well, we have talked enough on this channel to know the pituitary also controls thyroid, TSH, parathyroid, PTH. Now, if that's happening to you, why don't you want to conceive because of that? Depression, postpartum depression, poor skeletal growth in the infant, poor connective tissue formation in the infant. Not good stuff, guys. So you really want to take some time, Deborah, and get yourself well first. Even if you're 30, who cares if you spend the next year fixing everything, and then you'll have a fine baby. And you'll pull in these higher souls that can help the world more. So you want to take the time and make Deborah body healthy. And I'm at 500% serious about that. Because you've got some things going on here. I don't like the fact that you have stomach and digestive issues on top of this. So it's obvious to me that your adrenals, being 30 years old, just points the finger there, but it's obvious to me your adrenals are way down. How low does your blood pressure go? Check both arms and see where your top number goes. How low below 120 are you? Because my guess, you're going to find low blood pressure, real low blood pressure. That's adrenals. I don't know what they're talking about, insulin resistance. These guys use names that they don't even know. If you have an adrenal weakness and you're having sugar metabolism issues, that would be a Metformin issue. If it's the beta cells in the islets of Langerhans in the pancreas, that's insulin. It would be rare, I would think, to give you Metformin for an insulin problem, but it's possible, especially in the lower levels of blood sugar. But I would take that right now, fix this problem, get rid of the Metformin, and you're done. And acne, of course, at age 14 on, gives it all away, doesn't it? The acne at age 14 gives it all away. You were born genetically with kidneys and adrenals. Your lymph system is a mess. You have acne all over the body since you were 14. No one's helped you to get rid of it. So guess what? It's gotten worse every day, every week, every month. Your body's constantly producing waste that you can't get rid of. And that's the problem with being unconscious here, is you can go a lifetime creating these things and suffering and not realize you're creating that. Isn't that something? That's unconsciousness. And you're in creation, which at any given time you're unconscious. So am I and everybody else. You can't have total consciousness and still maintain bodies. Blow them right up. Can't do it. But the polyp in the uteri, what does that tell us? It tells us that the wall of your uterus is stagnant lymphatically, and that's another reason why you can't conceive right now and don't want to conceive right now. Even though progesterone starts building after conception and the placenta becomes maybe mostly progesterone, which is your counter to acid, your counter to estrogen, is your alkaline counter to the acid estrogen, the wall of the uterus is highly acidic. So you're in danger zone right now. Forget trying to conceive right now. No, not smart. Not smart. Smart woman says, next 6 months, clean up body, fix pituitary, fix ovaries, uterus, make strong, clean. My baby will then have those same genes, and I will then give birth to fine baby. I will conceive and carry. So, good case, honey. But you've got some things to take care of here. Your thyroid is way down. That's why you feel cold. It's supposed to warm you up, even when you're eating cold food. So that's your pituitary. That's your thyroid. So as soon as you said irregular menses, you just shifted my neck right up the pituitary. So you want to fix all these things, sweetheart. Get in there. You can. When there's a pituitary, I like to do it this way, and I brought it up into the protocol video, but I like to, about a month in, month out, I like to get everything opened up and moving first. Then, because you'll be on the endocrine gland formula, there's pituitary stuff in there, there's everything in there, but then I like to put a pituitary herbal, hitchhike with a parathyroid, and even you could hitchhike it with a thyroid formula, low milligrams, like 100, 150 on the thyroid, 50 on the parathyroid. It should be reversed. You don't need heavy milligrams on the thyroid. And just do that for about a month, along with your other protocols, detoxing and everything. You'll pick that right up. But remember, this also means you have colon problems. Well, here you go, digestive problems and stomach problems. See, in this transverse bowel, it has to be down right here in the center to have the pituitary down. It's just, this is the embryonic kick, the embryonic relationship, or, it's co-partner. So, yeah, you want to take off. I don't like anything you're saying here. I think this is a woman that needs to get her kidneys filtering, her adrenals up, and start cleaning up the female organs. I would also not take a chance. I'd douche for about 2 weeks with a Heal-All tea, 1 time per night, 2 weeks. I would. If I'm a female and I'm going to conceive and have a baby, I want to bring forth the finest baby body I can, right? So, I know to do that, my body has to be good. So now you're learning how to make it good. And you're having irregular menses, can't hardly conceive, all this thing. This is not the time you want to try. And a lot of ladies are trying to do this in a particular time frame that they shouldn't be, because of passing these genetic weaknesses and the lymph system problems to the babies. It's unaware. They don't know any better. No one's telling them. So don't be mad, ladies, that I say this, but I'm just trying to protect you and your children. Yeah, it's disappointing that, finally conceive and then lose, abort a few months down the way because your body can't, and that's irregular menses. You can't hold the term. You can't trust estrogen coming in there. Can't trust the progesterone estrogen syndrome because your pituitary's out of whack, suppressed with lymph or tumor or just genetically weak. Who knows? You have to look at your eyes to get a good look at that. Yeah, hi, Robert. How are you? I hope you're well, man. I am well, man. Well, man. I have had a skin... Wow. Just skin. I feel sorry for you guys. My skin's a little beat up. It's called multi-poodle. Doodle. He's a little cutie. Supposed to be a little teacup. I showed you him the other day. Supposed to be a teacup. Well, he weighs about 10 pounds now, and about that tall. He's bigger than Coco. Remember Coco, our chocolate Shih Tzu? He's bigger than Coco now, and he's supposed to have been a teacup. Age? Is that your name, Age? Or it's just age. Hi, Robert. I have a skin issue now for more than a year. It's red spots which start to spread and then settles and comes back and gets dry and flaky. It's just your acids coming to the surface, and then your pustulas can pop, and you get the acids drying out, and they get flaky. It's like dandruff. As soon as they hit air, they start to dry out, and then you start to see the mucousy acid stuff and absolutely stuff. But it's just showing you that you have so much in you that it's popping out. Once you get out, it's popping out. It's like a bunch of a corral full of horses, and you're only letting one out of the gate at a time, and they all want to go. So you're going back to the kidneys and adrenals again, going back to a clogged lymph system again. I have been vegan, so you realize that vegan isn't the answer, right? All you guys realize now vegan isn't the answer? Good. For 4 years now, and mainly eat pretty good, or what I believe is to be healthy. Heaps of smoothies, greens, rice, seeds, and fats. Well, I'll back up with that one. All right. Greens, okay, but not really super health promoting. Not like your berries and stuff. Rice, whole grain, nope. Seeds, nope. Be careful with the fats. I don't see any here where you have fruits, berries, and melons. You have some smoothies, that's fruits. I am also very spiritual. I like that. And understand this could be manifesting something from my consciousness into reality and my physical body. I have seen many people for help, but my skin problem never seems to improve. Well, you bring something up interesting, Age. sometimes we do tend to think that a lot of our symptomology is tied to lack of spirituality or something like that. But, the flat truth of it is we come down here, we eat wrong. This is, I don't know if this physical realm is a fairly new realm to this particular area of creation, but this planet surely is. Even though it's as old as it appears to be, it is so infantile in the human consciousness, it's not even funny. There's civilizations so far more advanced on all levels, you can't even believe it. So when you look at this and it's like, what? It's just amazing how the human psyche is just so slow to expand, and I think it's just because there's so many controlling factors here. But I would say this, add a lot more fruits, berries, and melons in here, but you got a skin problem, you have to go up to fruits, berries, and melons. So, it's just a physical manifestation. It is the human state of consciousness. There's a lot of levels to the human state of consciousness. Multitudes of levels. And when you visit, you can visit them. It's not like, you can visit them and take them on. I'm going to be a carpenter. That's a specific state of consciousness in the human body. In the human consciousness. All of these states are, believe it or not, and they're also in all kinds of levels, emotionally and every other way. So there's all levels. There's the more humble and loving human consciousness. There's the grunt, let me cut your throat and kill your sister consciousness. There's the human consciousness has a varied level of it, which is highly frustrating because it goes from almost worse than animals, because animals don't kill each other like that, especially the same species. And you just don't see that much. And that's way out of balance. And then you have the opposite side, the loving side of the human species. So you see a radical shift in duality in the Homo sapiens. So it's not a consciousness that's been around long enough to mature up. And that's what I think partly why we're here, is to help mature the human consciousness up a little bit. It's just, it's wacky. And right now, if you look around in the news, people are going crazy. Can't handle it anymore. They've had it. The frustration from corruption and policing and everything. Just everything. The diets, everything altogether has just culminated into what you see. When you start taking freedom away from anything, that's the negative forces. And then you start taking it down toward the negative side and the hellish side. And that's true with governments and everyone else. When you start taking the freedom away from anything, it's going to start fighting. Because the nature of God is freedom and individuality. Let me see. I have seen many people for help, but my skin problem never seems to improve. If you don't detox at this level, age, you're not going to go anywhere. I mean, you can get a little improvement doing your say a natural hygienic fast, say on fruits and vegetables, but you're not going to get a remedy. You want to get more into the tissues involved, the kidney and adrenals with botanicals. The foods are going to be very much focused on fruits, berries, and melons for the lymphatics and nervous system and stuff. I drink plenty of water and herbal teas to try and eliminate toxins. Brother, do you have any advice or any way I could fix this problem? It makes me feel very depressed and it's exhausting. I do. Move from vegan to fruitarian for about 6 months. I'm serious. Go on a grape diet for about 10 days. Followed up with a lemon juice diet for 10 days. Followed up with whatever you want. You see what I'm saying? It's between you and your body. You're digging in, and digging in is fruits, berries, and melons, hydrating and creating anionic environments, which is an environment of liquidity and activity and motion, as opposed to stagnation and agglomulation is the acid side. So my figure is plenty of help. This is you'd be an easy case here, but you just want to really dig into the detox side. No detox, to me, no improvement, because detox is fixing that which is weak, that which is genetic, and that which is toxic and stagnant. No need to fear that. We clean our cars, we clean our houses, we clean everything out. Why wouldn't you clean the human body out? You wouldn't have to if you were living on 100% raw, particularly fruits, berries, and melons, because they're self-cleansers. So are vegetables, pretty much. So you notice that your stool doesn't stick to your rectum anymore. You don't need toilet paper when you're all raw like that so much because there's no residues there. Yep. As soon as you have starch, oops, stick. I've been enjoying your vids. Thanks. Excuse me. Get out of there. I've been enjoying your vids. Thank you for your knowledge. I'm still pumping my orange juice. Still getting navel oranges, but I'm running low. It's getting there. Ocean spray did come out. It said it was sweet oranges, but they're not sweet. They're acidic. You can taste it. I started listening because of your humor and knowledge in chemistry. I've always enjoyed chemistry because it relates to everything. It does. It does. And it's sometimes very frustrating to me because when I run up against some of these theories, it's like, wait, you're saying this over here, but your theory's over here. You know, there's that sort of thing going on in that field too, you know. And so we have to be able to explain life, chemistry and physics as much as we can. We're not going to be able to explain how God did everything, and we got to get with that. You know, man's narcissism is so high up there, we need a little humility shot, a big humility shot. And see, this is the problem with narcissism. One day that humility shot is coming. And that's why the spiritual people stay probably pretty humbled, because the humble shot, the humble vaccine is painful. It can strip you down to nothing. Literally strip you to nothing to break that ego. That's what God will do to you. If you ask and you want to grow spiritually and you want to know the truth and the infinite, then it's going to strip those things away. That is the me. Because you're becoming the one, you have to get rid of the me. Always hoping you can help me. Oh, if I can't help you, then it's a cold day in hell. I've been dealing with what I think to be blocked oil gland on top of my eyelid. Oh, wow. Conventional docs call it Chazan? I don't know how to pronounce that thing. I'm not sure if it has any relation, but I hit my eye on a hanging decoration and this bump developed a month later. I'm sure it did. But when something like that happens, when you hit like that and you get a lump and a bump, that's your lymph system. There could be some blood in there because it's interstitial. You just damaged cells, you know, and maybe caved in some interstitial walls temporarily and stuff. So, yeah, that's a lump of interstitial fluid. If you were to poke that with or take a biopsy of that, or open that up, you'll probably see blood and lymph. But when they don't go away, something's stagnant, right? Something's not carrying it away. Well, when you get up in here into these finer areas, it's definitely harder. It's like bones sometimes. It's just harder area to get into. Then you're working with this, you're working with trying to get the sinuses drained, to get all the lymph nodes opened up and the bowels cleaned up and filtering and the lymphatic points opened up and, all of that sort of thing. Candling the ears, everything that you can do to start opening up congestion and stagnation. Does that make sense? And then by doing that, then these things then hydrate and then they start being pulled away through the interstitial fluid drain, which is to the lymph nodes and then out the kidneys or skin. I don't think it warrants putting anything on it like a salve or anything like that. I would just kick up my detox to all fruits, berries, and melons and get my kidneys filtering and the adrenals and work all that and watch that go away. You could have a very stagnated area, and that's why you're seeing that. It's not going to pull it away for a while. So you really have to open up all these channels. It could be indicative. And take a look at your eyes in that area. Take a look at your eyes around your lymphatic zones and see if you're, how congested you are. See, some of the problems, that we talked about this before, if you have trauma or damage to tissue, and the lymph system is the one that cleans it up. It's like a bruise we talked about. You hit your stem, you get a big bruise, your lymph system has to clean that extra blood out. You say, well, wait a minute, wouldn't that blood go back into the bloodstream? No. The lymph system has to remove the damage. Goes to the lymph nodes, then to the kidneys or skin. They'll get there, but do we want to wait till the medical doctor finally gets there? They just finally found the lymph system in the brain 2 years ago. Hello. Just now finding it, are you? Oh. But I love the fact that they found it. And it's very important that they find that. These researchers like this at the University of Virginia, very important find. That's a Nobel Peace Prize to me. So is the lymphatic system. So is learning about the university in Canada that discovered there is neurological diabetes. Those people needed to win an award for that. These guys are discovering really vital and cool stuff that is stuff for the whole world to know. People just pass them off. They'd rather give a Nobel Peace Prize to Obama, who has done nothing to that effect, but create some serious problems. Anyway, I have been trying to be vegan, as was wondering if it could be lacking. No, I don't think this is a lack at all. You know, a lot of times we make those assumptions. Kissy? A lot of times we make, but no. I've seen this before, where you get these welts and these spots, and it just tells me that the lymph system is really backed up. You don't have to worry about the omegas and all that. What you want to worry about is getting all the nutrition out of the foods you are eating. See, fruits and berries and melons have all the nutrition you could possibly ever want. Berries are so loaded it's not even funny. This is where all the nutrition of life is, in the scan of what we need. Meats don't have a fraction of the nutrition berries and fruits have in them. Not even a fraction of the goodies. And this is electrified goodies. This isn't stagnant blood and amino acid chains. You just have to kick it up, Chrissy. You just have to kick it up. Okay? And that's get on your fruits, your berries and melons. You get your kidneys filtering. I'm starting to get tongue twisted here. I had a salad and avocado for lunch. I've been doing hot compresses, and I wouldn't do hot. Cold. Why? Alkaline. Hot glomulates, cold unglomulates. Alright? Heat agglomulates, makes everything hold in. Saturate comes together. Tumor, stacking, swelling. And your alkaline is the reverse of that. Unglomulates. You're cold, cooling, believe it or not. So you would want to put cool packs on this to start cooling it and opening up this flow, because this is acidic. Even trauma is acidic. I do not want surgery, so hoping you can help. Oh yeah, you don't want surgery. You need to get this out anyway, because it's indicative, in my opinion, but I haven't seen your eyes or anything, but it's indicative of a stagnant lymph system, that you're not moving out the trauma from the bump. That's what I think it is. I don't think you have to think about oil glands and things like this at all. And if it was a gland, how do you open it up? You know, there's a lot of stagnation of tear glands and things like that. How do you open it up? Well, they used to say the best way to open up your tear ducts is a real hot onion. Just start peeling an onion. Just start peeling an onion. Or get a little piece of horseradish root and chew on that puppy. You know, those sort of things start opening things up pretty quick. But remember, in the acid side of life, things harden, dehydrate, deteriorate, and break, which is breaking down, and create pain. On the other side of chemistry, the base side, is the opposite experience. So which side would we want to go on? And then when you look at the food sources designed for the Homo sapien, they're predominantly base. Also the vegetables for herbivores, predominantly base. And matter of fact, most of your omnivores eat a predominantly plant-based diet. There's a big reason for this. And that is when you eat a predominantly acid diet, just take a look around the world at the humans. Who has hospitals built and who has all these nursing homes built? Animals? Nope. Man. So, couldn't be what we're eating, could it? No, we want to blame God and nature and everything else for this. We want to still pile it in. Like this lady that has 2/3 of her stomach removed and everything. I love my kefir and my meat. Then see ya. It won't be long. But don't have surgery on it, sweetheart, Chrissy. You do something about this. Get your lymph moving. This is a lymph problem. I wouldn't even think about putting a salve to draw. You could put, I mean, if you wanted to see if there was anything in there, but it could make it swell more. But you could take a white potato, cut it in half, and scrape the inner white potato, scrape that on a 4x4 gauze and put it over there while you go to bed. See if that'll pull that open and break it open for you. Or you're going to have to take it internally. There's only two ways to pop things out. Pop them out or take them in internally and pee them or sweat them out. Now, my question is regarding a condition my mother has on both of her arms down to her wrist. What she calls fatty tumors. Oh yeah, very familiar. Dragon's back. You ever see a dragon's back? Oh, I had a case of that one time. I swear I got that all smooth for her. But these are lipomas. These are fatty tumors. I mean, you could get a dragon's hump. Oh my God, I imagine that's what she's got. I've seen this before. Even though she is fine, honey, you're never fine when you're creating lipomas. Medical doctors might say she's fine, they're just lipomas, but that's also just a little tumor when it started. You don't listen to any of that crap. You roll up your sleeves and you get to it. Even though she is fine with her doctor's opinion that these are not, are not harmful and nothing needs to be done. Oh my God. I would prefer to avoid such a condition through nutrition if this is heredity. Yeah, she's not metabolizing her fat lipids properly, and she's highly acidic, and she's getting into that. You definitely want, I would get her started on our protocols, at least for the first couple of months. I would say for the month and a half, you're on the first kit, which is the dewormer and everything, liver gallbladder. Second month, you're on the liver gallbladder repeat, a little more killing of the fungus and stuff. I would give her on that, and then I do a liver gallbladder flush. Number one. Number two, I'm going after her adrenals and her kidneys, right? Very, very important. But you must clean her liver and gallbladder out. At the same time now, I'm moving her lymphatic system. And as I start to create all this cleansing and opening up in the liver and all these aspects, these humps will start oozing down, 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 and this will become all smooth again. And you want to do this, because you can have ketosis and everything else involved with all these lipid problems. So you want to really be careful with that. I disagree that she's fine. She definitely has some hepatic or gallbladder problems, probably. She's definitely very acidic to be able to create lipomas. Mm-hmm. So Karen, yes, honey, this is, they're not difficult to get rid of. They're not harmful in terms of what they're saying, like a tumor, which is acid lymph, but it is showing that the body's coagulating its lipids. So in a coagulation event, that's an acidic endeavor, you know. So you just get on the other side of the condition, get on the other side of the chemistry, get on the base side, get on the fruit diets, get on the herbs, and detoxify. But this one, I would do a liver gallbladder flush in about a month and a half. And you could use the liver gallbladder formula up to that, which will make the liver gallbladder flush real easy and nice. That itself will pull out stones. And then there's a food liquid that we sell here that breaks up stones too. standard process sells it. Felicia. Developmental delay. Uh-oh. Hello, I just wanted to start by saying that Dr. Morse, you are a light in this world, and I can't wait to take your detoxification. Oh, thanks, honey. Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate that. I really do, because we really try hard to help everybody and make friends with everybody and help as much as we can get everybody up to speed, both spiritually and physically, you know. Not that you can separate the two, really. I thank God there is someone like you. Oh, thanks, honey. Well, you know what? There's a lot more of us here because aren't I talking to you? And isn't that to recognize my inner beauty, as you're saying? You have to have it. See? So for you all to love me, I love you. So it's just your beauty is also beautiful inside. And each one of you have to accept the beauty that each one of you are. Each one of you are so beautiful and an individual, and you should be proud of that your beauty is what it is, that you have life, and that your consciousness can experience duality, and have fun with that. What you choose is your experiences, and when you realize you control everything, and you learn how to stop thinking so much, you'll stop producing things you don't really want. And you'll start controlling the things you want, and your happiness will settle in better. So it takes a beautiful soul to see a beautiful soul. That's why I love you guys. My question is on my little brother. He is now 20. He had a developmental delay since he was born. See, and this is when these children are born like that, this is when upper circuit brain and nerve will excel, because we've used them on infants as all the way up into first graders. Academically, and they don't seem to lose their spirituality. Amazing. That's amazing. So he's 20 now. Upper circuit brain and nerve. Upper circuit brain and nerve. Upper circuit brain and nerve. Upper circuit and brain and nerve. Also, kidney and adrenals, lymphatics, bowels. You want to clean him up. 20 years old. Kidney and adrenals for sure. So you know his lymph system isn't too well. So you really want to go after the brother. This will be a good case for you to work on, Felicia. Yeah. Help your brother here. Upper certain brain and nerve, perfect. Then detox. Get this brain cleaned up of all the acids and things. The GI tract, the kidney and adrenals. Any weaknesses you see in the eyes, fix them all up for him, and you'll have a nice brother. He won't have these problems. He'll come up to speed. I want to look at that pituitary gland too a little bit. But all that's seen through his eyes. If you need any help, call in, have a counselor help him, or you do it. Fruits, berries, and melons, brain and nerve foods, guys. Fruits, berries, and melons are brain and nerve foods, not vegetables. They're for the herbivores. Look at the muscles those babies have. That's herbivore food. That's why if you want to build big muscles, pop the green drinks. But they don't have all the other stuff that humans have. The ability to build skyscrapers, the ability of all levels. Self-awareness, all these things. We need a higher diet still. And that's your fruits, your berries, and your melons. It's also your cucumbers, your avocados, those things too. Those are fruits. Guli, Nora. Apologize in advance when I don't pronounce your name correctly. Forgive me. Country boy syndrome. Hepatitis B plus pregnancy. You are keeping well. Well, I think you've been doing. Thanks, sweetheart. Yeah, I am. I'd appreciate it if you could advise us with the following problem. My sister, 29 years young, is expecting a baby, but she has been diagnosed with Hep B, hepatitis B. What could she do in this situation? Do you think detox during pregnancy and breastfeeding period is safe for mother and child? I wouldn't go that far so much, perhaps. She needs to go ahead and get the baby out and that sort of thing. Then she can kick it up if she's going to breastfeed. You want to be careful with that. But she's got a detox. You got to clean the liver out. So you can put her on some things. Let's see what else. See, we will be eagerly waiting for your response. May God bless you. Thanks. Well, I hope she hasn't had it already, because I don't know how old this is. But put her on the basic stuff where you got the kidneys and the adrenal glands, the liver, gallbladder. You don't need to, she's probably getting close to the end of the trimester, so I don't think a lymphatic formula would hurt her. You could give her a little liquid lymphatic 1, say a half a dropper full of lymphatic 1 liquid. Then I would do 2 kidney formulas, endocrine gland formula, and the liver gallbladder formula for sure. And start cleaning this out of her. This is all just inflammation. The viral load will be out. You don't have to worry about that. So all she has to do is detox her liver a little bit. If she's still carrying, that's what I would do. I'd still shift my diet to fruits, berries, and melons, and maybe some green drinks, and make the baby healthier before it comes out. But again, here's someone with an inflamed liver, which is her lymph system, which is now, wait a minute, baby. So it wouldn't hurt to have the baby detox a little bit too, my dear ones. So I definitely changed the diet. The diet right off is very important to this. And I would make sure I'm on Parasite M. So I would go that way. Diet, very important. Very important. And very important to this fetus at this point. So once you give birth, then she can really hit it. But if you're breastfeeding, not so much. And the problem you want to look at her breast milk and see if use pH papers and make sure it's base. It's not acid milk. If it's acid milk, you got to go to a formula, or maybe our new formula. It's freaking doing. It's been doing. I'm getting frustrated. We got it in, but I didn't like it as perfect as I wanted it. I wanted to make it just a little different, and so it's taking us a little time to get it back in. But that's the kind of stuff that makes healthy and strong babies. So if you're going to breastfeed as a mother, you want to be on raw foods, first of all, and your breast milk needs to be base chemistry. If it's acidic milk, you're going to create colicky and all kinds of stuff in the baby, mucus and all kinds of stuff. You do not feed babies acid milks. That is not in the plan. Not at all. That's why milks are dominant carbohydrates. They're dominant base chemistry. If they were dominant proteins, they'd be dominant acid chemistries. And you don't feed babies of any animal acids. Not and keep them. I mean, proof is right there alone. You know the old saying, you feed a baby calf pasteurized milk, which is acidic, where fresh milk isn't. So when you pasteurize, you bond. You bond your aminos to your lipids, you kill your waters, so everything becomes one big acid. So it's said in the milk, in the farming industry, if you feed your baby calves pasteurized milk, it can kill them. They'll give them extreme diarrhea and can kill them. Well, then why are we giving our babies pasteurized milk? And then formulas. We had a lady in here that works for us. She was pregnant. She took off time. She gave birth. She came back in. And the baby's 3 months old. I just walked in there and brought him up to me. Is this right? And he is just wheezing and oozing. I said, he's got pneumonia or close to it. I said, you giving this baby milk or something? No, a formula with soy. I said, no. So they had to take him to the hospital, so we'll see. But got to be careful with the babies and filling them full of mucus. It's scary for the parents to have to deal with that. And it's scary to detox it out. And if you don't, you take them to the hospital, they'll suppress it in. So all this mucus that you see these little babies with, they lock it right in them. Is that what you want for your babies? To lock this mucus in the head and brain so they can't think and function? Lock it in their lungs so someday they have a mass? You see where I'm going with all this? Okay? So don't fall into that. Mother with child, be safe. And raise a healthy baby. And healthy babies love fruits, berries, and melons. And I got time for one more. This is Leanne. Hey, Leanne, how are you doing, honey? Hi, hugs. Ooh, I like hugs. I like hugs. I'm a hugger. I like hugs. Reasonably urgent info, please. I am eternally grateful for the knowledge you so generously. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. Since finding you, my husband and I have been 90% fruit. Oh, wow. For 16 months. Yeah. All right. This is Leanne and her husband. I've had an accident and severely damaged my knee. I'm advised to have a donor ligament, and cartilage. Oh my God, you did damage your knee bad. Holy crap. I'm 52 years old and have a physical job, so rapid recovery is optimal. Surgery requires general anesthetics. General is all. I'm very concerned about this. Would an epidural be less damaging? Also, what are your views on donor tissue? Boy, this is a good question. Well, okay. First of all, you don't think you can repair it yourself? Now, I know you're looking for a speedy time recovery, but you know, when you're looking at our burn salves and our heal-all salves, they are accelerated. The burn salve in particular, even though this isn't a burn, this is a trauma, it accelerates the healing of tissue. So, if you went 100% raw, and in that you added about 2 to 3 green drinks a day, on the same time you're piling in your grapes, your bananas, all the food that's packed with nutrition, at the same time make sure your kidneys are filtering, your adrenals are up, what else would I do? I would hit me a parathyroid formula, 50 milligrams 2-3 times a day. That's 2 TID, and I would hitchhike that with the bones formula 3, and that's even if I did the surgery. Because just because you do the surgery doesn't mean you're going to come out of this. Let me tell you, I've seen a lot of damages to knees where people have bad lymph systems, and I've seen the forced surgery. Remember I told you of a lady, a nurse, who fell outside of the ER one night, damaged her knee, took 4 surgeries. Her 4th surgery, remember, propofol 4 times, boom, 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 she went down in a coma. Her husband wouldn't let me try to pull her out of it. Told you about that one. I wanted to save that nurse. And that's the problem. It's a scary problem. I get where you're coming from. But you can regenerate cartilage, bone, and everything else. Might take you a little while, and obviously you're in a hurry, but you know, for the sake of being in a hurry, you might. And there's nothing like tissue regeneration in the human body. It's fast, especially if you're not too acidic, your lymph isn't a mess, and all the other stuff going with it. If you're one of those that their lymph system is chronically involved, your adrenals are chronically involved, it could take you a while. Because you're trying to repair trauma in an already highly acidic environment. And it just doesn't work well, no matter whether you use surgery or not. See, that's the problem here. Surgery isn't the thing that, all right, I mean, like on a knee or something, you get a new knee, yeah, they claim you can get right up and walk like that, but you got tendons and everything else here, and I'm just wondering, you know, you got to have some healing done on this. So irregardless, I would definitely hit the parathyroid and the bones formula and go that way. I would hit green drink. I'd go 100% raw, first of all. You don't want anything cooked, and you do not want protein, which leaches calcium out of the body. Why would you do protein? Why would you do the phosphorus nitrogen side, which is not the healing side for bones? Not what you think. You would not want to do that. You want 100% raw. The green drinks will help you to accelerate that because they are heavily mineralized. So you can do green drinks. You would want to do parsley, dandelion green, beet. You could throw some kale in there if you wanted to, or spinach. But you want those grapes, you want those bananas, you want those foods too. And at the same time, you know, go after this. I've got a bones formula. We got a lot of healing things. Salve, rub salves on it. That salves go in, accelerate the healing of cells. Hot and cold compresses. Get that lymph moving. Regenerate it yourself, honey. Because I agree with you. Now, epidural versus general, that's what I worry about. I've got a knee I'm trying to regenerate from a fall off of a tall telephone pole where the cap of my knee broke. And I've just been real hard working on it. I haven't been nice to my body because I'm a hard worker, born that way. And when I was building custom homes on the side, that's a lot of work, you know. Block work's hard, carpentry is tough, roofing is tough. Anyway, yeah, yep. These are all the things I would do. I have to tell you, epidural scare the holy crap. I've heard nightmare stories about that. I'm scared to have anybody get a needle in someone's spine. You hear women, epidurals for pregnancy and some of the nightmare stories, and I don't know what to say. It's a nightmare whenever you infuse the medical profession at any level. Even though a great surgeon is so loved, it's still a nightmare for the surgery. No, nothing pleasant about any of this stuff. But you want to regenerate anything, 100% raw is essential. Get away from the salads, but get to some green drinks, especially from trauma, and then hit on the good fruits. The berries too, blackberries, blueberries. I mean, you're talking all the power, flavonoids. You're talking about all the nutrition. That will accelerate the healing. And then hitchhiker bones forming, which is specific for skeletal and connective tissue. You're also pumping up the parathyroid, which is calcium utilization. You see what I'm saying? But you also want to move lymph, because who has to repair this down here? Who has to remove the damaged tissue and cells? Blood doesn't. Remember that traumatized cells, damaged cells must go to lymph nodes. That's where the macrophages are. So just remember that, and you remember how to repair trauma like that. Even if you elect to do the surgery, you want to do exactly what I'm telling you. Because that surgery, he's only a carpenter, guys. Or she. They're only carpenters. They can only put back, screw back, plate up, sew up, cut out. You ladies do that all the time. Us men do that a lot. They have nicer tools than me. They're cleaner. And maybe a little stainless where mine aren't. But they have the saws and the hammers and the chisels and everything too. Just like a house. This is a house. And go in and break the bones or whatever and redo. I mean, you know, all of that. Sounds like a lot of fun, don't it? Okay, one more. This is to Peter. Hey, Peter. Hope you can help. I had a serious brain injury several years ago, which left me quadriplegic, unable to walk for over a year. Long story short, even though I still deal with the effects of my injury, still use a wheelchair, I beat the odds and have made a miraculous recovery. Peter, love you, man. You're just the guy that captures my heart, because I love to get you guys out of wheelchairs. I can't stand people stuck in wheelchairs when you can fix yourselves. So I love this. And he's already working himself. He still uses it, but still. He's beat the odds. The injury has affected the white matter of my brain. And the effects of that are mainly my motor functions and balance. I'm fairly healthy, and I just want to regenerate and recover. What can I? Okay, now listen. Peter, this is my special. This is what I love. Unequivocally, fruits, berries, and melons. I'm dead serious, and nothing else. You can regenerate at a high level when you're at this level. I can't regenerate a quad, para, MS, Lou Gehrig's with vegetables. Forget that. You want fruits, berries, and melons only. And boy, that'll take care of the brain matter and everything. What am I about to say? Upper circuit, brain and nerve. Upper circuit, brain and nerve. Upper circuit, brain and nerve. Look at this video today. We've been talking a lot about upper circuit, brain and nerve. Isn't it funny how things kind of come together here? So absolutely with these. But you also want to remember, dear one, that if your lymph system is backed up, slow to heal. So you always, no matter whether it's trauma or you're creating that, you always want to hug down on your lymph system. In doing that, you'll heal everything else, irregardless of whether you had injury, again, or you created that. You work on that, and you can regenerate yourself, Peter, and be out of that. You've already, sounds like you've done incredible. Finish it up. Get rid of that chair. Give it to Goodwill or something. But you got to get into upper circ, brain, and nerve. You got to get into 100% raw. I mean, I'm dead serious about this at these levels, and get to those kidneys and adrenals and stuff like that. That's your steroids, your neurotransmitters. You know, everything helps. Everything helps. Candle your ears. You know, open yourself up, my dear one, and you'll be fine. You'll throw that wheelchair away forever, and that's what we want here. I remember this quad was in here one day talking to me, and he said, I flew into Las Vegas with, I forget, hundreds of quads and paraplegics. And that's where Jerry Lewis was doing a telethon, remember, for MD, muscular dystrophy? And they wanted him to talk to them. This group wanted Jerry to shine light on wheelchair people, on people that not just muscular dystrophy, but quads and paraplegics for a lot of other reasons and stuff. He wouldn't even meet with them. He wouldn't even meet with them. That's what this guy told me. He says, I went all the way out there. We all were out there, a bunch of quads and paras, and there's 12 million of us in the United States or something like that. So, you definitely have my heart. And I'll be glad to help you as much as I can. All the way through, Peter. Let's get yourself out of that chair and gone. Done. Well, I love you guys, and it's cases like this that just bring your heart open and say, we got to help these people get out of these chairs, even from trauma. This is all karma, but we're helping them run their karma out, and they're done with that. And they're learning and awakening up through this process, so their life is going to always be better. All your lives are going to be better, better, better. Trust that. Open yourself up, and don't take less for an answer. Who runs your world? Who's driving your car? You? Or are you handing your steering wheel over to someone else? Yeah, it's not good to be a backseat driver, right? You want to drive your own car, dictate your own world. If you're a little shy and you have a hard time with that, that's your adrenal glands. Work on them. Start accepting the beauty of who you are as an individual, and accept the individuality as a beauty. And know that we all come from the same source, and that we're all one from that point of view. And so if we treat each other like that, what a beautiful world this could be, right? Love you guys. Take care of yourselves. To the next video. Thank you.